Oi mate, what's happening?
Assalamu alaikum.
Buongiorno.
Hello everybody, welcome to another week of the Welsh Esports League Season 10. Again, I cannot believe it's gone this far, but here we are, and we found ourselves at the Rainbow Six playoffs at the moment. Why me? Last week, we saw the group stages, but because the team has dropped out, we found ourselves already at that playoff side where we've got our semi-finals going on. We've got a pretty exciting game, first of all, that we're going to be watching today, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Fantastic game first. Obviously, last week, Team 1, so let's go about the Dragons, yeah? Last week, 7-1 versus Tribal. We cast that game. Spawn peaks galore, especially from the side of the Dragons. I think every single round saw a spawn peak. Going a little bit crazy, and they look completely and totally in control. Nothing really bad to say about it. But then, looking at the side of the Goats, 7 to the Ponies. There's a little bit of controversy after the game, couple statements made. Not going to get into it. I don't know. But either way, they lost 7-3. They didn't win a single attacking round last week. So we've got the two teams. One team in the Dragons, they won every single defensive round bar one. And then the second team in the Goats, they didn't win a single attacking round. So let's see how they've practiced, prepared, and how those two styles will clash.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing here for me. Now, while we take a look, you can see that we've got the SCA Dragon wins under the board because last week was 2 best of ones. The Goats, they were able to win one, but they weren't able to close down that second game, like you say. That was a loss for them. And that means they're going to be going up against each other. On the other side, you have Tribal going up against Pit Ponies. That's another game where I'm quite excited to see how that one goes out, because whichever wins these best of 3 series will go through to next week and will go through to that grand final. SCA Dragons, I feel like you say, dominance and lost on peaks, and I want to see them keep that aggression going into these games, and I'm really excited to see how they're going to play it. But we've not just got the groups, we can actually see the brackets, see what we're going to be taking a look at. This is the kind of the state of play. It's a pretty short one, but it's sweet. You know, keep it nice, keep it simple. Like I say, Pit Ponies are Tribal, and then Goats SCA Dragons, and our bottom game is the one we're watching. The Dragons and the Goats, I feel like there's a lot you can talk about on there, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they're both incredible teams in their own right. Goats, Season 8 winners. You know, did absolutely fantastically. Dragons, runners-up last season. And they have players in there who have also won. In Vex, in Billy Ray, in Shaq. These are proven winners on both sides. Honestly, I would love to see this be in the final. I mean, it just seems like a fantastic matchup. I think these two teams are very equally skilled. And I think we're going to get a proper fight here today over, hopefully, 3 maps.
Yeah, hopefully we're going to find ourselves going up to that maximum area we can. So, you say it's a 3 map? Yeah, it's a best of 3. So, both teams, they have an opportunity. They've got a pick of their own for a map, and then there's a side of maps. So, the way that things work is Dragons, because I believe they came the top of their group, they were able to get that the first ban. So, they took down Fortress. Not really surprising. Teams don't really want to be going there that much at the moment. It is still kind of quite fresh, quite new. They actually decided that meant, because they get the first ban, that also means they get the first pick. Not even Labs is the map to start us off, and that makes quite a bit of sense. They want to be smart, they want to be simple with it. The next map then, though, Goats have decided, coming off the loss of that game that we saw last week, Goats have decided to go to Border. Wire.
I mean, look at Club, look at Border, completely different styles. I mean, on Border, you can play that very aggressive attack. I mean, you have to play a very aggressive attack. But I also think it's a dangerous pick because we saw how Dragons were playing on Chalet, a very Clubhouse similar map, really, in some aspects, and they were very aggressive. Border as a map, it favours aggression. It favours these teams who will just take risks, who will be up in your face and say, "Hey, we're here. You know, you have to fight us. You're playing us. You're not just going to be able to sit down bunker for a minute 30. It's not happening." So, Goats, I really hope they have some sort of, idea of how they're going to play, of what they're going to do to counter. Because if Dragons can convert that Nighthaven Labs, I think it's going to be a little bit more risky for the Goats than the Dragons.
Yeah, they're going to be able to take a lot of momentum, put it into that border, and then get those close range engagements, because that's what the map's all about. But before we go there, and before we think about our third deciding map, Clubhouse, we have one map to go through first of all. Nighthaven Labs, like you say, it plays more similar to Clubhouse. It's one where teams feel a lot more comfortable. Especially, I think that garage side is something that we talked about last week. It's something that really just feels familiar. A lot, like for teams, they can play a rafters, they can play a position like that. They know the operators they need for it. But let's take a look at how we start. SEA Dragons, because they picked this map, they're going to be starting on the attack. Hopefully they know exactly what they need to do that. Goats will take that defense, and they're going to find ourselves starting with this ban phase. I'm expecting to see possibly an Azami, most likely an Azami coming out, maybe a Shield. But it is going to be Maverick and Bandits starting things out, and you can see they're already focusing on that, those walls, those key positions, that IT, that main breach down below. Those are the areas they want to focus on at the moment. I
mean, yeah, it's time. Again, we set out on Club last week. You're either going to go one way. You're either going to go to Shields or you're going to go to Breaches. And then on defense, you're either going to go for the wall denial or you're going to go for the information denial. Here, we got a mix of both coming in from the Goats. Not wanting to face that Blackbeard. The Maverick also very potent. And on the Dragons, they just want these breaches open. They want all those sight lines. They want all that entry very easily. And I mean, on the side of the Dragons, I have had a little birdie told me they have had some role changes recently, actually, Creedy.
Oh,
Zorn has picked up the IGLing. No longer is it on Shack. So this is Zorn's official IGL debut. Apparently in scrims has been going very well. They've been very, very happy with what they've had to say. So I'm quite looking forward to see how he does it here, especially starting off on the attack. Let's just see what he does. See what style of siege he will bring to this team.
Yeah, attack definitely going to really just put you straight in the deep end when it comes to IGL and the strat heavy side of things. And the thing is, I like that as a pick as well, because if we look just at last week, just as Chalet, they were able to put up numbers with the kills. They were able to keep pace with the rest of the team. So putting a player like that on that IGL role, yeah, they're going to be back. They're not going to be up front. They're not going to be taking as many fights. But when they need them, when they really need to step up, they might have that X factor. They might have that June potential that we saw yesterday in the SI Grand Finals. Starting things off though, Kaiser is going to take themselves down. That's because they found a skin, and ever being vigilant, the SEA Dragons have noticed that. Kaiser, by killing themselves, just to explain it, makes sure that the rest of the team doesn't actually take a round loss, because that could be a round forfeit if it is unaddressed. This way, they keep themselves, yes, a player down, but with the time, they still have that advantage to follow.
I mean, the operator they've lost there, not really that big. It is the mute, and yes, that's probably your Esports player. That's going to be a little bit annoying. However, you've still got a lot of good guns on the side. And is that a misdrone? I think that might have been a misdrone from Zorn. They don't know Siegeology is in that corner. However, have a feeling they still will clear it. But it's attack here coming really from multiple directions. They're getting the IC wall open. They've got this con open. Honestly, I think they're looking at a default pillar plan, and with that very early entry due to the unfortunate, C4 because he had a illegal skin on. I mean, it's just going to make it a whole lot easier for Dragons. But again, let's see how this, new style of IGLing from Zorn is going to come through. That's what I'm really interested in here. Yeah,
the question off now. They're not really too stressed. They have that opening pick. They don't need to go aggressive. But like you say, they're kind of slowing down. They're taking their time. They don't need to overextend. So what they've done, they've got Billy Ray to look up towards that electrical side and look to get this
find
play.
his head.
Because that smoke, that time waste, that's going to be important. That's the opening kill from Billy Ray down below. Electricals just open up and those smoke canisters have just gone as well. The mirror will have an answer, take down Rest, but with that mirror window gone, it's going to be a lot harder to play that position. They might just be better off reinforcing it, but the push is starting to come through. The zombie barricades will go through. Billy Ray able to find a second kill onto end, if I'm not mistaken, over towards that carriage side. And that suddenly applies so much more pressure. So on Billy Ray looking for the pinch here on Rest. If they can get that player, that means that Vex, well, dead, but the player over towards Electrical can push through. Geology though has a gun, he's looking to use it. Rex will find Rest, and now on 1 versus 3 with no HP. Just Someone's going to close it down. The IGL there to finish out that first round in favor of the Dragons.
I think the Ghosts just have to write that one off. I think we can't really look into that. I mean, the mental already would be a little bit chalked. Lost a player due to an illegal skin. Very annoying. So I think Goats, write that one off. From the side of the Dragons, look very calm, in control. Billy finding very 2 important picks. The smoke early on was absolutely crucial. I mean, that's all your time to now completely gone. But yeah, I think overall, round 1, I mean, it's always an info gathering round to try and figure out exactly what the other team are doing. And I think that you can't look too deep into it for both teams. So now this round, provided there are no skins, we should be all right. Although
exactly, yeah.
I think that's another skin. I think that's Kaiser again with another Elevate skin.
Oh, yeah. I think there's got to be like a culture, you know, before you play, you do a little check. You just go through all your operators. You just make sure, or if you just want to play it safe, you just don't put any skins on.
Absolutely.
Maybe Kaiser hasn't done that, but regardless, this round you can already see, because well, we're talking about Kaiser, you can see that the Dragons, they've changed quite a few operators to go through a much more supply. Shocker we saw last week, the Capital, the Rarura, that screams out they want to get that breach open, a fast push, and then they want to isolate these defenders from getting to the point. You can see Shark already getting to that point, nearly able to get that, but that Mute Jammer goes down just in time by Geology, taking up that mantle, because they need to bring the Mute. They can't afford not to, especially with the Bandit and Cave Band.
Attackers have dropped the bomb diffuser.
Oh no, not the TK! So the trade coming out, Billy Ray and Geology killing each other, but Zorn also got caught in the crossfire there, which actually means the Goats have the advantage. The Incandelas will go down, so will the Rarura Gates, but with the Fenrir gadgets going off, they'll give away the position. The push has to come through, make use of the utility that they've been using, and Shaq's going to be exactly the person to do it, finding Kaiser, but gets quickly traded out by Rest as well. Not a lot of side control taken, but with Capital, they still have the smoke in hand, but they're not going to use it. They know that they need to use this weapon. 2 versus 3, those Aurora doors doing absolute work there by just making the defenders give away their position when they go for the push. Yogi will fall to Vex with 1 shot, looks for another one, the Fenrir pushes up, tries to get the kill with the MP7, can't make it land, it's all down to Ant. The 3 versus 2, now the 1 versus 2. And the defender has become the attacker. The pistol looking for that kill. They just want to have it. They just want to close down the round on kills. And now Ant just has to back up. This is a round they might have to look a little bit more into, as now they shut off the site yet again.
10 seconds left. This defuse isn't going to come in for Ant. He's too far away. We'll find a constellation counter Vex, but the Aurora door will shut. No jumper will rotate. Doesn't matter anyways. No time left on the clock. And as you said, this is now a round they're going to have to look into, as Rex will secure the final kill. That round, a very poorly executed rush, to be honest. You have to look at the side. The initial hitch, no EMPs. They did not plan on having to use these hard breach charges. No EMPs on the side of Dragons. Once this Meteor comes down, that Thermite isn't doing anything. So that's mistake number 1. Immediately. Alright? Immediately. Mistake number 2, the team kill. I mean, yeah, maybe accidental, but then you put yourself in a man disadvantage, and then you're going for a rush in a man disadvantage. So I think that round, despite the amount of mistakes Dragons made, the improbability that they should have won that round, they still did. They still did.
for me, it's all about that pillar area. They were able to get, I believe it was Vex or Rex, they were able to get that player, the Capital, in that position, so Vex was able to cut off the cargo player, cut off the rotate from the other side, and just apply that pressure. The Aurora Gates, if that Aurora went down, or the Capital, or the Ying went down, anybody else went down, that round would have been completely different in my opinion, but we're going to be finding ourselves going back up above. Now, skid issues been raised, so hopefully we're not going to be having any more issues with that. As the goats do look to go above, they're bringing things slightly different. They decided they want to keep that as army, but they want to bring the Aruni and the Maestro now. I think they realized, okay, they took a slower attack to Dragons, maybe get those Maestro Evil Eyes in and try and get that utility that way.
Counter pick from Shaq with a Brava. I think that's a very important read. Those Maestro counts will be very potent here. However, we'll see Dragons, see what they do. Let's just see what they do. Last time, they went for a very direct pillar take. Got very fortunate with that early pick, but the mirror attack coming through. But is he going to find the kill, Billy? That immediate, the Brava, will not be really have any use in this round. It's either Aruni Gates, as that's Maestro, Yogi gone. 0-3 for Yogi. You wouldn't want it.
No, but those Maestro cameras can still feed that information, especially towards that IT side. But it's not having that operator able to actually capitalize upon it or use that ult is going to be a massive, massive impact. And now with that player disadvantage as well, someone's able to take control of this raft to side, apply that pressure, start to make that push up. And now Billy Red's just a case of backing them up and just reinforcing them. As you can see now, the rotate has come through. This is not a winnable position for Siegeology, as much as they might want to, as much as they might back themselves to go for it. They know that they just can't. Look at that information coming out at the moment. Just giving away all the calls. And Siegeology able to find a kill. Puts the damage onto Zorn, but with Rests as well. Will take down that Monty and take down the shield. And a 3 versus 4. Rex and Shaq able to find a kill of their own again, bring that scoreline back in favour, but it gets evened out by Rests very quickly. But the site control by the defenders has been massive. They're over towards Electrical and one in control at the moment. All SCA Dragons have to do is push together, play together, but that's just not going to happen. Rex jumps in, gets taken down with the case, and Vex is all alone. They're going to have to find these 2 kills, and they're going to have to do it soon. Because if they don't go for that plant, well, then it's all down to frags. Look towards that pillar wall, realizes that info's there. They know that there's going to be eyes on them. They know that they're going to have to take these gunfights, and that they're not going to be in the best position to do so. I know where these players are, but the crossfire, the defender's just sitting pretty. The shots come out. Vex still thinks there's someone behind them, but that's just not the case. The shots come out. Rests though will find that kill and close out the round in the first round for the Goats.
I mean, yeah, brilliant play from Siegeology there. I think he played that raft position absolutely perfectly. I mean, there's nothing really else you can say. He backed up when he needed to progress, didn't do anything, and then baited Billion with the first goal on the Ash, and then made Zorn push up so much that Rex on the mirror was able to help him and take out the Monty, and that's a crucial execute piece gone. And for Dragons, they tried to reclaim the round. They got back to a 3v2, didn't they? With Shaq and Rex both finding kills. But again, giving up those one-on-one gunfights. I don't know exactly what the call was for Rex. I mean, the shotgun shot had come out from the mute early on. They knew they were going to be playing E-Box. Decided to shotgun open the window and immediately jump in, giving over the diffuser and putting Vex in a very impossible crossfire position.
Yeah, if they waited a couple of seconds, that Ace could have just walked up to the door. They could have taken that 2-on-1 gunfight, and that at least is one gunfight they know they're going to win. Then they can go to the mirror. On the side of the Goats, so they have to take that. They have to say, right, we played that well. That's it. That's the starting ground. That's what we need. You know, at worst, we get a 4-2 split here. Yeah, let's just go for it. You know, we can really make this work. They're going to find themselves going back down below, if I'm not mistaken, going to try that site again, because I don't think they're really going to feel like the Dragons tested their defense that much. They went for the aggressive push, they took in control. When a team rushes, you don't really get the opportunity to use your defense. So when you playing in that defensive mindset, you feel like, right, you could go back down there, because the attackers don't actually know what you're planning to do. They just rushed in, and from their point of view, got a couple of lucky kills and a couple of lucky positions. I feel like that's good. I feel like we're good to see that the Goats have a little bit of bite to them. especially in that round as well, because they lost quite a few advantages early on. That Maestro going down it immediately was a huge kill, a huge frag to take that, to just really knock them down a peg. But then they brought it back. They were able to win out those gunfights. That, like you say, Siegeology played incredibly on Rafters, and that just brought it back. I want to see them be able to do the same down below.
I mean, yeah, there's not much you can really say on their basement defense, because like you said, when you rush, when attack team rushes, you don't get tested. You can't put it into action. But again, even though they didn't properly get tested, they still made it fairly close. They could have won that. There was the position for them and a very good chance for them to win it if it wasn't for a hero play from Vex on that pillar, just outgunning the Fenrir and pushing the Legion back. I think they could have won that, especially if Vex goes down there. So, end of the day, I think for GOATs, you have to look positively at that round. I mean, you can't really take too much into it. I think, like we said with round 1, just write it off. It wasn't a proper round. It wasn't a proper round for you to look into.
Yeah, kind of shake it off, move forward and say, right, now we're going down to this site. They've had their fun. We're just going to make sure we play properly. I feel like even if there is going to be a roam, kind of that fast push that we see again, a little bit of roam presence really wouldn't go amiss from the side of the GOATs, though. I imagine it's probably what they were looking to do in that last round, the last time we were there, but I'd really like to see a little bit more vertical just in place beforehand. Even if it is just a case of having these players up above on the roam, they have that garage hatch open so they can easily drop, or they can easily at least play the hatch and forces players to come upstairs. That's something I'd like to see, but like you say, you can't really read too much into it. We are going to be heading to a very quick break before we do jump back into the game. We are just getting that skin issue resolved so it doesn't cause any issues moving forward. So make sure you don't go anywhere because we won't be too long. so we're jumping back into it now. Round 4. For those of you just joining us, the SCA Dragons, they picked up the first 2 rounds. The first round, they took it slow, they took it steady. They had an open kill because there was a skin being used, which meant they could afford to do that. The second round, on the site that we're going through now at the basement, they had a rush. It was fast, it was sloppy, but it worked. Third round, the Goats were able to bring it back and find a round on the board. Are they able to do it again, going down to this basement for the second time? Of asking why.
I mean, it's not even a case of can they, it's a case of they have to. You're looking at Labs. You said it before we left. 4-2. That is the default you need, the minimum you need when on defense. If you do not get 4-2, you put yourself in a very difficult position going into your attack half. And I mean, yeah, 3-3 is somewhat acceptable. You leave very little room for yourself, but you know, you can take that into attack half. Anything less, you are screwed. So they have to start stringing these rounds together now. They cannot afford, you know, to go into that attack half either on equal terms or down. So for the Goats, let's see what they can do.
Yeah, I feel like Dragons, they're going to feel quite confident, especially if they're able to take that early advantage on their attacking side. Go to the defense. We saw, like I said, a lot from people last week. They expect the same when it comes to this. The Goats, however, when I look at this, I feel like they're playing reactionary from what we saw last time. They do have these roamers that are being droned out. There is a roam clear. They brought out that Warden, and I don't mind a Warden pick. A Warden pick normally does go down quite well, but I feel like it's really to counter that Ying aggression that they had before. Bringing that operator, I don't feel like it's necessarily the biggest thing they could do. They probably better stick in the mute or the smoke for the time. But at the moment, though, Shaq is going to be forced out and pushed down to these cargo stairs. Does a bit of damage on the Shaq, but isn't able to find the kill. Rex is going to be the one able to find them, though. Gets that Roma, takes down the Vigil, and in doing so, will give them a little bit more verticality to work with, allowing them to start getting the rest of this top floor clear, start looking down below.
Very nice play from Shaq and Rex there, to be honest. Shaq being the bait, but still, but very good play there. But as they're going to go down for this top floor, do they know about Yogi? Will they drone him out? You assume they would. But Yogi and Rex playing together here on his vending side, defending this very, very well. But again, for the side of the Dragons now, 1 minute 30, you got your info. Let's just go in, start playing a vert as Rex with double. I'm pretty sure he just opened up a lovely, there was a yellow ping there. Beautiful, beautiful play from Rex with that vert. 5v3 now for the Dragons in a great position. Yogi and Rex both having to fall back now. They cannot afford to give up another. However, they also need to find a pick. You can't sit in this 5v3 forever. You will get overwhelmed, especially with, I think, 2 Goyos or 3 Goyos gone. And to stay with that, they're going to start playing very, very heavily.
Yeah, Demos giving that information now. They know exactly where Young Yogi is. You can tell Young Yogi knows that they need that pick. Like you say, they need something to happen. But it's going to be Shark able to find Rest. Will put us in a 2 versus 5. A bit of damage onto Zorn, but not enough. Yogi backs up, has to play the site. Is this Warden going to be the pick that they needed? The SMG-12, can it do the work? No, the verticality from Rex finding their third will. The Demo scan from Vex will find Yogi and find the round in favor of the SCA Dragons. Very well played. I feel like Yogi probably could have been a little bit more proactive in that round. Put the pressure onto Rex. Put the pressure onto the players who are doing that verticality. Stop them just looking down, clearing the util on their terms. Goats, like you say, they had to win that round. They just weren't able to make it happen.
I mean, yeah. I don't think even if Yogi managed to find, maybe a 2-piece, I didn't even think it would have mattered. I think that round was in Dragons the moment they got to the 5v3, to be honest. They have no contestation up top. It was Futurology, and he went down without getting anything. I mean, granted, it wasn't really his fault. However, once you lose that top, it is kind of difficult to retake if you're not coordinated. And while, yeah, they had the Goyo and Rest, and they had Yogi in Kitchen, they could have gone for something and really should have. They didn't. And in the end, the vert play from Rex, absolutely fantastic. Got a triple off it. And I mean, there's nothing you can do. Going back top now, they really have to pick this round up. If last round was crucial, this round is the absolute most crucial round if they want any chance of trying to steal away Dragon's map pick.
My big problem about this site for SEA Dragons, for Goats, sorry, is yes, Goats have won it, but it's the only site they've won. They've been here, this is their third time of coming to this top floor site. They've won it once and they've lost. Actually, no. Are they on the top floor?
Oh, no, not their kitchen. Sorry.
They're not.
No, kitchen, no. They're,
Control
storage.
Okay. Right,
Sorry.
so they've actually listened to kind of what I was about to say. They've realised that they were still quite close. It wasn't perfect. They don't really have the rounds to work with to keep throwing things at the wall and making it stick like an ace charge. They have to try and do something that SCA Dragons aren't ready for. They need to get that round on the board. They need that 3-3 split going on to their attack. For the SCA Dragons, though, the approach stays quite similar. They focused on that verticality. They tear that top floor. Get that garage control is massive. If they don't get garage control, they're really going to struggle when it comes to the execute. But Monty's already pushing in.
Pressure now going onto Yogi. He shouldn't be alone here, but the pressure from the money, constant pings. Yogi's going to feel very uncomfortable here, but it's now on Billy to try and convert that into a pick, but he can't. Shaq will find one. We'll just walk in here. Yogi, you got to take another down with you. He's feeling pressured. It's going to have to drop. We'll take a lot of damage, but does somehow get away with his life. However, that is top floor taken for the Dragons, but a pick from Kaiser and from Rest from below. Kaiser and Garage will make it a 2v4, not in favour of the Dragons. So now, what you got to do? You've got to find this pick back. Rex will take more damage, but he still will take Kaiser back 2v3. Take a lot of damage though. The smoke canisters will be very lethal at his health. They are just trying to guess him out here.
Yeah, but they're using a lot of smoke canisters at a 1 minute 20 mark in the round. They only have one left in pocket. That's about 30 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds they can have. Shaq was able to win that gunfight through the vert, taking that last canister down. And now it's down to Ant and Yogi. I feel like Yogi and Kaiser really should have done more on this top floor, but for Yogi, there's a shot at redemption. Such low HP on the side of the Dragons, and the Goats have one thing in their favour. They know the Dragons have to push. Dragons have that top floor control, but they also have the drones start to move through. Ant and Yogi, they're just playing it safe now. They're holding the angles and they're not getting ahead of themselves. The ping does come out. They're not able to find the angle. They do at the last second. They can't find that kill. But now that they know that that player is playing towards cargo, they can actually start to do something about it. Grim Scan will fall through and holding that blue stairs, but also needs to watch the hatch. Looks away at the worst second, and Gridlock's just going to be able to push up. But Rex doesn't even know. The call comes out, the swing follows, and young Yogi's able to find that pick. They don't go for the vertical. They are just going to be staying on site. Play together, play it safe. That's what you need to do, and takes the damage, but isn't going to be taken down, and that means Shaq doesn't have that opportunity. They're going to have to push through. 7 seconds left on the round. The BP giving away that position, giving away the plant. And look at that split retake. They know exactly where they need to be for this. The plant just doesn't go down. Goats able to win out that round. And I feel like that's a good recovery. They lost that top floor early, but they brought it back when it came to the time.
Yeah. Really, really good from Goats there. I mean, got a little bit dicey at times, but like you said, it was a very good recovery. I think the damage from I think it was CGology on Nick, that damage onto Shaq may not have gotten the kill, but he put Dragons in such a compromising position because they could have both died to a single goo mine each. That's how low we were talking. But I think again, for Dragons, they should be pretty happy with that. I mean, yes, you lost the round. However, it was a tertiary site. You probably didn't expect them to go there, to be honest. I would have expected them to try and retry bottom floor. However, either way, they still made it very competitive, even with the very big health disadvantage. So now, as Goats go back to the top floor, we will say like we did last time, they have to win this round. Yogi, though, hiding this clash. He'll probably hide it successfully here, as I don't think any drones are going to be getting in. But look on the side of the Dragon. Grim is going to directly counter his clash. However, the Monty pick will come through from Garage again. Are we going to see the same execute? Probably. Probably will be a Rafter side with some con pressure. However, Dragons this time, they have to get those guns firing more.
Exactly. I do like the fact that the Goats are thinking about bringing that clash here because, like you say, the Monty's a big problem. They want to fight fire with fire. It's how do they deal with the Capital, really, that's going to be the decider on whether that's an important pick or not. I feel like Goats as well, they also need to try and be a little bit more proactive when they're in these high pressure positions. Over towards that electrical wall, over towards the comm wall, over towards that rafter side or IT. I think Yogi's the perfect operator to do that, especially for the electrical, especially for E-Box. Harbreach will start, we'll give that information away, and the rafter player is still there. They will start to move forward, but look at that utility just being cleared. The C4 rips. Doesn't fly. Go through. We'll find a double. Takes down Shaq and Zorn. That's the Monty. Monty and the Grim, the two operators we really kind of pointed out, taken off the board. They know that Clash is playing there. They've also got a Denari in backup as well. The flames come through. Yogi gets tagged a lot, but gives up that electrical position. But look at those flames. It stops them from pushing up, as does the Denari scan. So now they can retake the position. Billy Ray's left with a choice. You go with the second smoke flame, or you just let it happen. It goes to the jump out, finds the kill. The nade will follow. Will probably get Yogi, but as Vex is able to find Kaiser, Rex will fall in answer. And Vex and Connector is alone. They have flashbangs in pocket. They can take these gunfights, but Clash is still alive, and they have nothing to deal with that operator with 1 minute and 20 seconds still left on the clock.
Yeah, take it down immediately. I mean, that double C4 start really, really just made things difficult. I'll say you lost your money, you lost your Grim. Again, 2 XQ pieces gone immediately. A little bit of toxicity coming out from Ant. Don't know why, but I guess it's all fun and games there. I'm sure there's no hard feelings. But as I said, 3-3 was the absolute worst case scenario minimum that they needed to get, and they got it. So again, Goats, leave them no wiggle room going into this attack side. But again, it always will depend. How are the Dragons going to square up here? What are they going to do?
Not surprising bands, actually, as we find ourselves flipping again. We're seeing the Monty and the Mirror bands come out, and I feel like these are two operators that had a lot of performance, a lot of control in how these rounds played out. More so the Monty than necessarily the Mirror, but on either side, you can understand why they don't want to deal with them. Goats willing to take that clash. Well, the Dragons are saying, yeah, just don't bother. You're not having it. It worked once, we're not letting you have it again. Going on to the defense, though, this is where you expect the Dragons to really be able to ramp up that aggression and really start to kind of drive it forward. So for me, the big test, are the Goats able to match that? Are they having the drones in place? Are they having the refrag positions nearby? Because I look at a Mute and a I look at a Mute, a Goyo, and a Rooney. I expect these players to be wanting to take gunfights, not necessarily the Mute as much, but especially the Goyo and the Rooney. I want to see these players taking the fights. I want to see these players getting aggressive. And the Goyo on the road, we've already seen how important it is. I feel like the Vector can do a lot of damage.
I mean, Vector can do a lot of damage, yeah. It's a very potent gun, especially in the right hand. However, I'm a little bit in Breach denial on the side of the Dragons. I mean, yeah, you could say the Mute, but at the same time, they got the Fracture on the board, you've got AMPs and hard breach charges. You're not going to really do anything here with that Mute. But the fact your pick still being in is a little bit of a W for the Dragons. I mean, wasted operator, really. Who's he going to use that on? A Rooney? I mean, come on, he's not going to... His util is basically null and void this round. But, again, for the side of the Goats, should be very easy to get these breach-offs. Just everything.
Yeah, so he should be able to just start pushing forward. Billy Ray will get a little bit aggressive and will be taken down, punished by Geology for it. Very nice start, especially for the Goats, and one they definitely need for that mental going into this round. Oh, no.
Where has he died from?
He died in a little...
Oh, that's not good.
Possibly one of that spawn peak. That's the DMR. There's so much damage that can be done with that weapon. And that's just taken away. Rex is still playing that garage side, so they will be able to get that Animus cover from the hatch if they really need it. But the flank cam's there as well. These attackers, the side of the Goats, are going above, and they're being smart. Yes, they've got that breach open, but they're doing their due diligence, and that's the important thing there. Rex will find Shank, and that's another defender taken off.
Rex has this vert control above storage. Should be pretty easy to get the actual storage control here, as they've all vacated the site. But again, we said this for the Goats when they were in the 3v5. Dragons down, they need to get active. They need to find a pick back here. 1 minute 40, already 2 down. I mean, yes, you've lost people with very minimal util. You've still got the smoke up, you've still got the impact on the side of Vex with those Goyo charges. So at least you have plans and our util here. However, you don't have mana bars. You will just get flooded and picked off from this bear. We need to see Dragons get active here as Rest, trying to look for a kill here. Has drone information on one, I'm pretty sure, but cannot find anything as Dragons are playing very conservative. Zorn runs this one on the breach. 1 minute now. Time is ticking for the this plant though, and that's what we were talking about. Zorn, those smokes go down. The vert play working fantastic. Yogi with the pick. It's now Vex. Feels like a little too late here. You need to desperately have a big multi. It's all going to be on Rex in the site. Vex doesn't know there's one in vending.
They don't see Geology will fall. Rest and Rex will both fall as well. Now Vex with the verticality. They have the opportunity, but not the time and not the angles to make it work. Ant will shut them down. I feel like, again, these roamers, they're just a little bit too slow. They need to be applying pressure. Yes, I understand there's the worry of you're a couple of players down. You don't want to lose anything that you've got. You don't want to just give away around. But in the same vein, by doing nothing, you're also doing that. They could push, they could probe a little bit more, at least like you saw. Use that impact EMP, make them aware that you are roaming. I know there's a Nomad there, but something has to happen. They have to at least make themselves known, and then we need to say, right, I'm over towards the spending side. I'm over towards this top floor by triggering a Nomad or something like that, or at least trying to get a kill, and then just running back, running away, and playing it safe. We saw them playing, towards kitchen side. Apply a little bit of pressure, make them a little bit uncomfortable when it comes to that games area, and just pull back, go up those stairs, do whatever you need to do just to stay alive longer in the round. Having that vertical pressure means that Goats don't feel as confident, but I've got to say, they're feeling confident, and now they've really earned it. SCA Dragons, they only picked up one of the first two.
Reloading, cover me.
I mean,
5 seconds to go.
That's not a lot about how Goats are feeling.
I mean, yeah, Ghost will be feeling confident after it's a little bit of a sigh of relief maybe just getting that 3-3 split. But on the side of the Dragons, I don't think it would have played too much on their mental. You're on attack labs, it's not a favourite side. You've made it equal going into you. For side of Dragons, I would be more concerned, and I think it's going to be more on their mind about that last round. They basically got flawless aside from two decent hero frags from Shaq and from Vex.
Yeah, now looking at that top floor again, you can see the Thatcher EMP is coming out, really putting into work on that. 2-barrel charge will be the thing that's stopping that though, trying to put that pressure on and just stop that breach from opening up just yet. Thing is that once that thermite is deployed, unless you shoot it off, that is going to go off eventually. It's only a matter of time, and those are 2 barrels that you cannot put down anywhere else then once that's done. A minute off the clock. Blackbeard out from rest here. I feel like this is one that they're really going to want to take advantage of. That's their area clearing operator. That's their punishment operator. They use that Blackbeard. They get that hallway control, and then they move forward. Oh, let's spot a player over towards that connector side, but realistically, you're expecting someone to be here. Just get that wall open. Now we need to start thinking about our opening picks. The demo scan does come through. Vex will be detected, and as a result, that means that they can get that information for the rest of the team. The rest of the defenders, however, they don't know. The flashbang goes out, the C4 follows, doesn't find its mark, doesn't even find any damage. But look at that vert playing down below, looking for the cutoff. Isn't going to be able to find the mark, but now Billy Ray is fancying that gunfight. They're going to be able to find Geology and get the opening pick in favor of the Dragons. With a minute 10 left, the shotgun does come out. Rex is able to find Yogi. Now the Blackbeard with the frag grenade, they have the opportunity to make it work, but the nade, it just spots in that little frame perfectly and finds Billy Ray. With a minute ticking down on the clock. 3. They just have to make that push with that player disadvantage, but they have the Blackbeard. They have an opportunity to get into the just need to push together. Now you see Kaiser rotates around, goes for electrical, tries to do that cut off to catch Rex in the background. Isn't going to be able to find the mark, will eventually though, and opens that up. The Rafters play comes through, the refrag falls, and Kaiser drops as well. But with the plank going down, now the defense are going to have to get aggressive. Shaq and Vex each finding a kill. The Dragons will find their defensive round, and they'll find it quite confidently with the crossfire at the end.
I mean, I think it was just a very messy round overall, to be honest, from what I saw. We got the over-aggression and coming in from Billy Ray on that Blackbeard. Didn't need to do that. Could have just fell back. Blackbeard couldn't push him, couldn't swing him, had that near to the door. I think he just got a little bit flustered and frustrated. But again, he took his one, a very important one, on Siegeology below to Deimos. Siegeology had to do more that could not afford to go down. To be honest, could have shot through the floor more, doesn't have to expose himself. He has to do that situation, and he just swings. So I think, again, on the side of Goats, it's missed opportunities. That Blackbeard really had a good impact that round, but I think aside from rest on it, the rest of the team just went on it. To be honest, the rest of the team just couldn't follow up with what he was doing, and in the end, Dragons converted. So now they'll retry this bottom floor, and I think they realised their mistake by not having a lot of top pressure. They're now bringing out this extended castle setup.
Yeah. Castle, Mozzie, Pulse, it just screams out to you that they're going to have that room, they're going to have that pressure. And the thing is that I need to ask, Ryan, are they going to make the most out of it? Because they had Vert players, they had roamers last time, but they didn't really get much use out of it at the end. So is that something they're going to make them, well, let's find out. Bit of joining here, they might be able to find a quick pick over towards that storage side, but they need to be careful because there's only the window available for them, and Pulse playing there will have that information ready to hand. The C4 could fly out, and we could find another double C4 at any moment. Not going to be the case at the moment. The garage side will open up, Ram will start to open that IP side, and as a result, Siegeology should be able to look at doing some Vert, getting the kill, they're finding the Pulse, but so much damage onto Billy Ray, barely any onto Siegeology. But they're not able to confirm that kill just now. The Pulse still has that info. They still know that that player's on the board. So now they're just taking their control. Get away from that electrical side so they can be a little safer. Zorn will take damage as well, possibly being caught in the crossfire as well. But here's the big thing. There's nothing really working. The Dragons, they haven't really had much answer. That's a lot of damage taken away already. But Rex is able to find Siegeology. The Nomad will fall as they look to take that top floor again. Vex over towards the electrical side. They've realised they've listed they need to be a little bit more aggressive. Yes, there's a Nomad air jab, but they don't need to trigger it to find this kill. They know there's the focus on the Vert, and the longer they stay alive, the more important they'll be. Breach opens it up, puts Young Yogi in an awkward spot where they've got two angles to hold, one Animus, one main Breach. They know they're both going to be held, and now they need... This is where the Vert is going to be so important when it comes to the site. Billy Ray spots the player in garage, looks for the kill, isn't able to just find it. Rest is just going to avoid them. Will walk into the way there. Kaiser and Rest both down. Neither of them can be confirmed at this moment, but Billy Ray only just able to stay alive, stuck here playing for their life. As Vex does strike, goes for Kaiser, gets that execute. And now, the 2 versus 5. The scan comes out, Rest will fall as well. That vertical pressure in favour of the defenders. Young Yogi and they're not really sure what they want to do because they're stuck outside. They're just going to have to try and take these gunfights and win them out. Billy Ray could be a very easy one to kill. Might not be taken down. Vex, the only player with more than 10 HP at this point on the side of the defense. And we will see Shaq getting revived. Damage will come through. Doesn't land the shots of Rex. And Yogi will be alive just a little longer, but they don't have to die. The defenders can just waste the time. That's all they need to do, and that's what these multiple angles are for. That's why the attackers, they've smoked up, they pushed in, and on such low HP, just can't get a plant down. Sea Dragons, that was a lot more dominant and a lot better play from them.
They repelled the Vertec very, very well. Billy Ray taking a lot of damage early on, knows exactly what his role is. He just drops off, plays the pulse for the info, is able to give those calls on the people pushing carriage. Got a very lucky spray, I think you must say, onto the Ram, who really should have reacted to him, if, we're being completely honest. He played his role really crucially there. That he dropped into Animus that wasn't even set up for him, wasn't even reinforced. They didn't bother with that. But again, looking at this round, Goats should have really done more. I think, again, missed opportunities. I'll say it again and again and again because it is true. But looking at these bans now, Dragons banning the back of it, no surprise. I think Rest 2 out of 3 rounds, he's played it. you know, very potent, very annoying. They wanted shields gone. It was obvious from the start. And on the side of the goats, banning the mute, I don't see that as a very well thought out ban for them, to be honest. I don't think it's been that
Attackers need to
bad.
locate and defuse bombs.
I'm trying to think where this mute ban has come from. I mean, they still bring the Mozzie. That still has the impact on the drones. The bandit can still focus on these breaches and is going to be a much better utility denial operator on the breach. That mute ban, I think, they're trying to make Sea Dragons a lot more. I don't know, I wasn't committed to make. They don't have that flexibility that you would have if you brought a mute and a bandit. They can't have the mute drummers for the drones, but I feel like it could be better. You could probably get that Mozzie off, keep that drone, get that drone impact anyway. Maybe get that castle off the board, save yourself a little bit of soft destruction, but
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, on this site possibly might be a big thing to keep that soft destruction, but we're going to find out anyway. SCA Dragons ran away from match point. Goats, they're looking to just even things up another time. I reckon they could easily do it though. They just need to be strong on getting that top floor again.
Absolutely. But again, storage plays out very differently to basement. Instead of just having a free passage into this IT, they're now going to have to fight for it. The factory MPs coming out from Kaiser. I mean, that's a little bit funny. But again, those EMPs coming up from Kaiser will just get this IT open very instantly. Shank's taking a little bit of damage on this garage fight with Geology. We'll have to fall back a little bit. But Geology knows he can't push into that. That's a death sentence if he does. But with that ace Selma being wasted, by the way, that means Pillar Wall cannot get open here for the side of Goats. So that's going to be a lot of pressure they are missing out on when trying to take this top. Churchstone can't get in because of the Mozzie pest. Very, very good pick from Shank. Obviously didn't even know they bought a switch. But now they're going to have to go for this E-box take and try and take this garage as well if they want any chance of getting this fair. Have to be very coordinated here. See Geology smoked out. Rizorn will have to wait. Dr. Be Cool going out. In come the flashes. Billy Ray will go down. Not confirmed. Now is confirmed, but Vex immediately back with the C4 onto Ann. 4v4 now. See Geology has to try and take this garage and has to try and take it quick if he wants Goat to have any chance. Will prone here. Shaq didn't know, but again, Geology cannot convert the kill.
Geology knows they have to get something to get themselves back in the game. The defenders have that distinct advantage, and with Rex able to find Kaiser, it's going to be another one. Dropping back down. That's just that top floor given away, but with 1 minute left and 4 players with a player advantage in hand, SCA Dragons are looking good in this spot. The Goats have to make something happen. Like I say, Geology has to get that kill. They've got an R4C. They've got the ability. We know it. They've just got to be able to make it happen. The ramp will start to go down, but look at this. You still have these defenders on the top floor. Rex is able to find Geology. And with 2 players left, SCA Dragons can taste that match point. It isn't there just yet, but they can taste it. Young Yogi takes damage, finds Rex, takes down that castle, but that's a UMP that's been causing the issues. There's guns that can fire a lot quicker and a lot harder on the defensive side that are still up. The SMG-11, at least one of them. As Young Yogi rests have to look for the push. It will then just be down to the Twitch. That DMR, the heavy-hitting weapon going up against these close-range SMGs. Finds Zorn in the back of the head. The call comes out, though. The rotate follows. Shaq is somehow alive and is able to find that kill. It gives the Dragons that match point on our first map. And this is the danger zone for the Goats, because we mentioned Nighthaven Labs. If the Dragons win it, what happens on border?
I think Goats are going to be very scared now going into border. Dragons have shown that they can play both sides of the spectrum. Obviously, earn those attacks. They played very aggressive. They did rushes. They showed Goats that, hey, we are going to be in your face. And now on this defense, they are taking these swings. They're taking these fights. You saw Rex, that round, get a very nice double. And what did he do? He got it purely off swinging. Swung on the guy from Pillar. Well flashed, by the way. Probably couldn't even see half of him. Still managed to find the kill. And then killed the guy after rotate. Rex is a very key player here. If he is swinging to border, you should be scared if you are the Goats. But again, for the Goats, that needs to be out their mind now. They need to get these 2 rounds just to secure a chance of even taking this map.
Attackers have discovered the location of a bomb.
But what are they going to do? The Clash has not been banned, and the Clash is now on the board with Billy Ray. I don't think they've read Dragons really picking into this Clash, especially after those first 3-4 rounds. So this is going to be a big shock for them, and you can see it's been hidden. No denial. No denial from the GOAT to this Clash. Not maybe one set of nades on that Deimos now. That's just been switched. That is it.
Yeah, either they don't know, or they just trust themselves. They back themselves to take that. But from what we've seen, I feel like the Clash is really going to be good at stalling them out, which has been the GOAT's issue on the attack. They've been stalled out in that last round. For example, when they were getting that top floor, they had to just finish the last little bit of vert control, of getting that control. That's what they stalled. They lost those key players like Geology, and that's when they weren't able to look down below. I really want to see Geology start to wake up. I know that they can perform. I want to see them being able to do it. The Tube and Bandit combo will come through again, making us question why wasn't there necessarily brought a mute? Because if you look at what they're doing now, they should be able to, if you see, yeah, stay impact EMP that. Oh, they actually shoot the top gadget, which means the Bandit charge can go down. Kaiser will be able to find an opening kill, walking up the carriage, finds one, finds the second, does not get the boom. But the Clash is dealt with. And yes, Shark will find that refrag, will get that player, but they don't know if someone else is there. Get Rex up, keep him alive for 2 minutes. That's a huge round so far.
All 3 breaches from this Thermite gone, but it doesn't matter. Rest with a double. He comes in garage again. That's twice now they've been backside from the same position. Dragons, learn your lesson. Zorn will go down to Geology. You said you wanted to see him step up. He now has Vex 1v4. What can you do? Probably not much. Has to find this first frag. It's going to be double strong, triple strong. We'll find one. That's Rest down. Big double from him. Did almost secure this round. Vex, you got your first one. Low HP though. What are you going to do? Will be Groovy out. They're going to know his position. Takes down Young Yogido on that factory DMR. Does take down N. It's a triple from Vex. And it's a quad from Vex to secure Nighthaven Labs for the Dragons. Absolutely brilliant. Goats, don't know what you're doing there, but that is absolutely fantastic. And no matter the double, no matter how much Goats could frag, find that backstab, it does not matter. Vex goes absolutely nuclear and secures that round and secures the map.
It's the positioning, it's the knowledge that they're in that situation. They know these players are going to be pushing and they're going to be fast. Goats, they're feeling confident. They know they have the advantage. They know that they can keep themselves in the round for another game. So they're peaking. The communication wasn't necessarily there. All that Rex had to do was just sit there and play, isolate the lines of sight, force the 1v1s. They did exactly that. A 4v1, that just doesn't happen. Or they get like that DMR. It's just it's all she wrote in the right hand. So that is our first map. That is going to be the SEA Dragons taking that first map, taking Nighthaven, and then we're going to be heading to our second map, which is going to be Border. It is the GOAT's pick, so you expect them to know what they wanted to do. You expect them to have a game plan, especially when they're going up against aggressive teams, because we know how this map plays out. But the momentum, I think the mental especially is definitely there for the Dragons. I talked maybe about it came back for the Goats, but it really came back there, didn't it?
The amount of adrenaline and hype. I mean, we're feeling it as casters. That was incredible to watch. And as a player, that is probably the best thing. You're one shy of a 1v5. 1v4, Rooney DMR. You've got 2 people to your left, 2 people in front of you. You're being grimmed out. You're already tagged low. And yet you still managed to find all the kills necessary. And I think, yeah, as you said, the mental for the side of the Dragons, absolutely flying. You saw in the chat, they were giving it back to, and especially, who said to them earlier on, sit, who was talking, giving them a little bit of lip. So then you've gone into that, that's lit a fire under you. That fire is now going to be a blazing inferno inside them. It is absolutely going into Border. They're going to be hyped up and on it. And on the side of Goats, again, they have thrown that heavily. That was their key. That was the opportunity to push that map to overtime, to possibly secure Dragons map pick. And going into Border, let's hope they've got a good prep, because if Dragons, with the way they are playing and with the mentality they're going to go into it, they are going to be very dangerous, and we could see a 2-0 here.
Yeah, that we could. Yeah, probably electric in the call for the SEA Dragons at the moment. But like you say, we have a second map. That is only one. This isn't a best of one. This is a best of 3. So we are going to be finding ourselves on a second map border in a very short amount of time. So we're going to take a short break. If you just want to get a drink, get a little bit of food, that's fine. Just make sure you're back here when we do start that second game. You do not want to miss it. Welcome back to map 2 of a possible 3 here today. I'm Muhcreedy. Joining me again is YMB for a second game. How about we have a little recap, see what we saw on Nighthaven before we look towards Border?
I mean, Nighthaven was just, it was about what we wanted, to be honest. It was just a really fun, exciting game. Started off, Dragons, getting the first 2 rounds on that attack. Very fast, quick, aggressive. But again, Goats weren't going to stand for that. Managed to claw a couple of plank, get it to a 3-3 on the defensive half. We thought that wasn't going to be enough, and it turned out it wasn't. Got that opening attack round, looked very, very solid. Thought maybe they'd go into it, but then Dragons fought back 4 rounds in a row and capped it off with a Vex 1v4 to secure the map.
Yeah, definitely a very exciting game to watch. And for the side of SCA Dragons, they're going to feel quite confident going into this second map as well. Yes, it isn't their map pick, but they're going to be able to cut over on defense. They're going to be able to set that kind of how they want to play and force the Dragons to come, the Goats to come to themselves. On the other side, though, for the Goats, I'm not too worried about them. Because they're actually, I feel like they were a lot stronger on the attack in how they kind of operated. A lot of those rounds were a lot closer on Nighthaven than they were necessarily on the defense. So I feel like going on to Border, I'm not too worried about them. It's their map pick. They should know how to attack it. They should know what to do, what their contingencies are. So that's the exciting bit for me. For me, SCA Dragons, how they're going to defend it, how they're going to play into the Goats, what they're going to do when they see the Goats attack style. That's what I'm really looking forward to see. We are going to be jumping in. We are going to be having our map with the bands, and after this game, if we do see the Goats win it, we'll be heading to the very exciting Clubhouse.
Obviously, we saw a Clubhouse between Pip and Goats last week. Goats, like we just said, didn't win a single attacking round. So maybe it's just the Dragons' defense not being up to scratch, or maybe the Goats have just practiced that much that they've got very good at it. But either way, that's Clubhouse. We're on board now. Let's have a look at these first bans. And again, Dragons don't want to play against these shields. Goats, we know they like using them. Dragons probably know that as well. Don't want to play against them. The Zami for the Goats, I mean, yeah, it's fair. I mean, I've seen better bans out there. I'm not going to say I haven't, but again, it's fair. Dragons did use the Zami a lot, but again, that was on Labs. Very, very strong on Labs. What about these second bans now? Probably another... No. Not another shield. It's a Ying, Creedy. A Ying. They want to stop these rush plants. Primarily by looks at Archive Store. That's Ying. Want to use that for Archive Store rush. And on the side of Coach Mirror, standard. Again, very, very good on board there. See no qualms with it. I think it's just very standard bans. No real target here.
I think with the Ying one, the Dragons, they were the only ones who really used it in the last game. And I feel like, yeah, that's pretty good. I feel like they're thinking, Border's quite a close map. It's quite close range. Even if you're not on that top floor, like you say, if you bring a Ying, it's probably going to be for that Archives push, really. But then that's not to say that you can't use it for them, like the roam clear. You can't use it for pushing these isolated roamers by themselves out. It's a pretty good operator on a very confined map like Border, so... that makes sense to ban for myself. Like you said, the rest of them, pretty standard. Azami, if you leave that Azami on the board, that CCTV is just going to be an absolute nightmare. It just goes without saying. They're going to play there, just going to keep putting soft reach after soft reach there. And if you're not going for an archive push, which the defenders would expect and be prepared for, you are pushed towards the CCTV side. There's the angle from the armory wall. There's the whoever be playing in CCTV, which might still be there now, by the way. They're going to be trying to cause you a whole lot of harm, but with the Nizami, it's just 10 times harder. They don't look at their attacking lineup. They don't have much soft reach with them, so they're going to need to make the most out of every single thing they get. Now, though, as the round does kick off, are we going to see Dragons getting a little bit aggressive, or are we just going to see them waiting and letting the Goats do the early work?
Based off that triple will be reinforcing office, it does suggest a little bit of a bunker here. Usually you want to extend up into E80. They've got no players playing east. No one playing downstairs. Goats recognize this immediately within 30 seconds. All that space has been taken. Never mind. One coming on east now. And it's a trade. Billy Ray taking out the Dokkaebi, but will get found himself. That's a Legion down. That's a Dokkaebi down. Pretty fair trade in terms of util. Calls came out from that Dokkaebi early on. But, CGology will trigger that Fawn Trap. Will let people know that he is there. He's going to tunnel vision a little bit. Where's he been shot from? He's been shot from there. It's the vert from the shack on the vert. He's got that little impact hole there. There's a lot of damage on Siegeology, well under half now. As this opening minute has been very entertaining here, and it looks like Dragons. Yeah, they are playing that. That bunker. They're playing pairs here as well. You can see Shaq and Zorn, I think it is. Yeah, they're on a pair. They're on CC and Army respectively. Rex and Vex, they're on a pair as well.
Yeah, but it works quite nice with the words. It also probably works quite nice with the gameplay. You can see.
I think.
That does look like a
be...
DC from the Siegeology, so that's a really bad situation for the Goats now because, like you say, the Sea Dragons are playing quite close. They're playing quite tight. They're not really overextending, but they know where to be looking, especially for that rest he's trying to kill. Our CCTV side does start to open up a bit more, but that Ella's still playing there. That Scorpion is still there, and Kaiser must know this. Will be able to find a kill, takes down Shaq, and now CCTV opens. But with a minute left on the clock, 2 defenders on the board, and only 3 attackers, of which Siegeology possibly having a little bit of connection issues. This might be a little worrying for the attackers. Drones start to follow through. They know these 2 defenders are going to be on site. They're going to be playing it safe. They're going to be playing it kind of careful, make the most of what they've got. Don't give away too much. Pressure towards Fountain is there. Suddenly Vex realizes they start to give away a little bit too much, and with Vex on that DMR, a very potent force indeed. We saw it last time. They're going to try and make the most out of these long lines of sight. Their gun isn't really going to be good in the gunfight if they go for that swing tight left. That might be where you want to see Vex for 3 attackers. That might not be the way to go. The flashbangs go through the attackers. You know they're going to start that push. The swing comes through. Vex will fall. And now it's all down to Rex again in a 1 versus 3 situation. We'll be able to find Siegeology. Looks at the second kill with a pistol. Isn't able to land it. Gets the DMR out again. But the ammo's running down so low. They just can't land those shots there. The DMR at the close range, it just felt a little too clunky, and it just wasn't there. Young Yogi finding the kill, and the Goats getting their first attacking round, and I've got to be honest, that was looking good from the Dragons.
Yeah, it was looking really good for the Dragons, playing the trades well, getting the early damage down, but I think that one untraded kill from Kaiser onto Shaq, where they weren't in a position to trade, where Shaq was just caught, too far out, couldn't really get back, was too trapped. I think that was the pivotal piece that the Goats really needed. They were in that man advantage. They knew exactly what they could do and what they had to do. But even then, I still think Dragons still played it fairly well, even when they were at disadvantage. Rex and Vex, they doubled up, knew exactly what to do. It was just the guns, the sights, they weren't the best. And Thorn's SMG can be quite good, but in that situation, you can't take 3 down with that limited mag size, and the ACOG DMR for Rex in a close situation like you are going to face in Border wasn't able to do much with it, and I think that's just where the Goats ultimately prevailed.
I'm not really too surprised seeing the Sea Dragons going back to this top 4 site. They felt confident. I feel like the Goats played it really well. They were able to isolate a couple of these players, so I don't think the fact that the Sea Dragons lost that round was necessarily down to the strats. I feel like it was down to the way it was played, maybe. And I think it looks like the Sea Dragons do agree with me. Again, kind of positioning a little aggressively. I like that drop mine on that window because information is given. Yes, that window's already open, but it's a little prox mine. So whoever's playing that armor, they can go for the swing and they can go for the kill. And if that is Zorn with that DMR, they can do a lot of damage. They can get a lot of hurting onto those attackers. Bit of due diligence to start things off as the attackers will start making their way towards the break side. Again, not really looking over towards that archive side, and not even looking necessarily too much towards that bottom floor like they did before. They've got Siegeology below, but that's about it.
Dragons playing a lot more extended now than they were last round. Shaq will get drained out a little bit, but it looks like Goats haven't really changed up. Basement control, not basement, that first floor control, and then pressure this armory side. They know exactly what they have to do and what they want to do. As it is going to be Rex trying to find a little tap onto the head, not going to come up with anything. But again, that cuddle is there was a cuddle for each position possible there. Isn't going to try to do it, so our team play safe. And I think for the first time in a couple of rounds, we're in a 5v5 after the first minute.
No,
So that's a very good sign for both teams. Oh, come on! I say that. Zorn takes down Yo-Yo and Flores, but that impact from those Flores drones is already felt. Took down a couple castles, some more util, but that one is going to be a lot more felt. That's the ace going down on Rex. Takes him down. Rex with another onto Siegeology. Billy Ray will go down, but will be able to be picked back up here, maybe, unless Ant is able to push up. It looks like they are going to go in for the revive on the Dragon side, but there's a castle barricade there. And not going to be able to confirm the kill. Billy Ray picked back up, but on low HP. 5v2 now. Not much Goats can do here. They have been completely shut out. One tap. That was a one tap from Shaq onto Kaiser. You can't even combat that. I mean, and he's got no util. He just needs to go out. He needs to go out, take these 50 seconds as an informal timeout, and talk about what happened there. You've gone from playing a very, very good trade game, very, very good execute, into basically being shut out. No flawless lows, and we'll find and finish off Billy Ray essentially. But again, Shaq with another beautiful shot.
Yeah,
Dragon's tired.
Able to find that head. They will tie it, like you say. Again, SEA Dragons, they played it a lot more. They played it a bit more smart, a bit tighter. The castle really benefited them there because, like you say, we're going to see a timeout, so we can actually have a bit more time to talk about it because the Goats, they realized, oh, that was an adaptation. The castle, like you say, it just funneled. It gave the defenders the freedom of movement that a defensive team need, and it just shut out the attackers from getting those opportunities. The kills that come out was insane as well, are horrible because what we saw the Flores and we saw the Ace get taken down. The two operators that could deal with that soft destruction, they get knocked off the board very quickly. They can't think of any of that destruction potential. So suddenly, like you say, that gives the Dragons that full roam, that full just kind of confidence to just go around. And when they're already winning a couple of kills, they're going to take exactly that. They just get the last couple of ones, get the res, don't even let them kill Billy Ray. Just shut them out entirely. Round is over, and we are going to be finding ourselves going down stairs. The SEA Dragons, on the second time of asking, will win the archive side. And now going towards the bathroom, the Castle, the Ella, the Aruni, and the Smoke, kind of pretty much the same operators. But that Valkyrie's coming through, and I like the Valkyrie. I do love it, especially on a very soft
Defenders,
map.
protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
Very soft map, 1T4, and that's on the Valkyrie as well. That, you know, I think if they were planning to play a little bit more into Valkyrie, would have bought probably a couple more C4s, but I think this Valkyrie is just being used mainly for intel. Unfortunately, would have liked to see some cheeky C4 kills from below. But even if it's one. But again, this map border, just a time for the viewers, is very even map. It's not like Labs where you'll be winning out, 4 times out of 6. This map, if you finish 3-3, it's good for both halves. This is all about who is the better team, who is the more prepared team, and ultimately it's going to come down to those calls there.
Attackers are heading out to defuse a bomb.
Yeah, that information, it's so important. I mean, just having that opportunity to spy on those enemies, possibly having a camera where they're not expecting it, and on one round, Siegeology brings Deimos and not an IQ. That Valkyrie just been made a lot more powerful, especially if the Goats don't know about it. They should do, but they might not. A little bit of due diligence to just doing their own clear, getting their drones in and making sure they're not walking into another shack with a Evo Scorpion. Just making sure that they're being smart with how they play this. Their main job here, get that fuse above, get that ram above, get the vert done, and then use the fuse to just dump utility, use the ram to get those lines of sight. Nomad, they're going to be looking towards those staircases, just get those air jumps down, get that audio cue when somebody starts to push. But it's screaming out a vertical round to me here. And the SEA Dragons, they've done an extension, which is a little wise to be, because they're just not all clustering in one area. One fuse will not kill them all. So now the pressure comes out towards that custom site. They know that room is playing in workshop, and if they can get away with this, Siegeology will give away the position a little bit. I don't think the Aruni knows, though, as Billy Ray will be in that workshop side. The shots will come out. Kaiser will find that kill as a player in bathroom as well. They've not even bothered with the vert. They're just going to go through. Geology finds Zorn. They can go for a plant here. They don't have verticality, but they don't need it because neither do the defenders. They don't have it either. They could go for the drop on the hatch, but the audio cue will be given. The Flores drone's going out. Get that utility. But the K's and the rest get down at bottom metal, and it's all just shifted again.
Rest was late on the case. It doesn't matter though. Kaiser find one back. C4 goes out from Vex. Will not find anything. Goes to the drop onto Kaiser. Will find it. Immediately traded out by Antlo. 1v3 for Rex. Kate is down. It will be secured by Young Yogi, but it will go down again. 1v2 now. Surely we're not going to see another thrown round like this from the side of the GOAT. Geology will hit. He will have Rex rotate round. Rex just holding the vert. Geology playing for the drop, but they know exactly where he is. They know he's not watching defuse. So, and we'll pick diffuser back up. We'll probably go around, plant in B. Rex has to try and do something, but the tracker will come out. That's going to be very, very hard for Rex to count, especially on that soft floor. Not much he can do here.
And has to go for this plan here. They have to do it in tellers, and Rex knows this. They have to go for the drop. The nade follows. Rex is just going to run. The information's still there, though. And with that pistol in hand, they're going to go for the swing. They look for the kill, but it isn't there just yet. Doesn't matter. Time ticks down. The frag grenade can go down on the rotate, but Rex finding Ant means they win a 1 versus 1. You UMP at the close range, you don't expect it to do the damage, but with one shot, that's all you possibly need. The fast push comes through, looking for the kill, but Geology's there, gets downed, but is able to finish him down with the AK. And that is going to be a round for the GOATs there on the attack. But Geology, if I'm in that call, and I'm that player in that Deimos, I am questioning why it's taking so long to get that case on site. A 2-player advantage, site control. Why is that diffuser only just going down towards bottom metal at that point when the Valkyrie's staring right at it? Like, that round shouldn't have gone their way. That was a big mistake there that they were lucky to bring it back from.
You have the double entry onto site. You've walked up to site. That's not something that just happens, especially with 2 players. It's not something that just naturally happens. That's called. That's something you need to be calling. So the fact that that diffuser is still sat outside of the building is completely horrible. I mean, yes, is it a bit unlucky it got dropped? Yes. I mean, could they have foreseen it? Probably should have, but still. That whole situation from the GOATs was absolutely just indefensible. And then to drop it a second time dropped in workshop is terrible. And then to also almost give up another 1v4 to a different player, to a UMP of all guns. When you have those Deimos tracks, when you have these names, when you have all this util, you almost give it up like that. I mean, Geology, he misses one shot there, he's downed. He gets downed in that. He misses one bullet onto Rex, and that round goes to Dragons. So for the GOATs, you have to lock in. No matter how badly the Dragons played that round, they still made it to the point where there was not a single player left standing up. That is not something you can take and be proud of. So going into this round now, you need, if you're Geology, you need to be yelling at your boys, saying, lads, what are we doing? Please, for the love of all is holy, let's do this, this, and this, and let's lock in.
Like I said, the side of Sea Dragons, so they're going to be confused how they let that happen, and they're going to be trying to make sure that does not happen. Now, the Legion, definitely an operator that has that opportunity to kind of bring that back and kind of give them a little bit more knowledge, because with those goo mines, you either shoot them or you trigger them. There's no Twitch on the board for the GOATs just yet, so you either trigger it or you shoot it. Either way, there's audio. There's a quite clear audio trick that somebody is there, somebody is nearby, and you need to be aware of it. Playing on this site as well, it kind of shuts down a lot of potential for that rush, for a fast execute on the site, because there's so much verticality. You can see Rex is doing it. We've already talked about how soft this map is. It's such a soft, flawed map. There's so much opportunities for C4s and for Fit as well. That's exactly what Rex is doing. Rex just sets up all the lines of sight. Shaq, possibly Billy Ray then will play up above, and they will take control of it. They'll take advantage. They'll try and find a kill. The GOATs, kind of not necessarily locking themselves into one push so far, giving them the opportunity to go above and also towards that custom side. They've just got to draw it out and figure out what's right for them.
They have to take Vert here. They have to take Vert here. A little bit shocked from the side of the Dragons not to restart. I think that round is very winnable if you just don't allow that double entry to come in. I mean, it's a little bit ridiculous, but speaking of an entry, Shaq immediately down on East, but I don't think Yogi actually knows. I think it was just a really unlucky wallbang. Will confirm the kill onto Shaq, does find out. I don't think that Ajax going to fit through there, Yogi. But either way, that's an entry now to the Goats. Very important. That's a C4 down on the side of the Dragons. And I think now they have to be very much pressuring Rex to keep up here.
Exactly. Geology starting to walk into office now. The drone will follow, so Geology gets a kill. But Kaiser gets the refrag onto Geology. That's just not what you want to happen. But it feels a fresh air there. Now the drones are going to be to that top floor. They're going to be watching that verticality, and now this is where the Goats can really start to make it work. They haven't had the opportunity so far. There's no C4s on the board of the Sea Dragons. And look at that hatch. That workshop hatch is soft, which means that's a possible backstab that you could take if you're an attacking lineup. And with Ant being able to find Rex, it's just down to Zorn and Billy Ray. The Vector and the DMR. The Vector will find a kill, but gives away the position that they're not on site. So now Billy Ray possibly faces the wrath of two players just pushing that verticality together and just going for the drop, whereas Zorn has to play for the defense side. Possible retake at the top floor might go hard right now for the defenders, but do they have the opportunity to do it? Can they take those two gunfights and then focus down below? Probably not. So Billy Ray looks for the kill through the vert. 35 seconds ticking down. As soon as that Goyo's gone, while that damage does come through, it's forcing Billy Ray out. The Goyo canister's gone. That jump probably is most likely going to come through that vent window now. They know where the Aruni is playing. Do they know where Zorn is? What is Zorn doing? With Kaiser finding Billy Ray, Zorn's just going to have to retake the vents. They don't know where this player is. They don't know that the plant's going to go down. As the impact follows, they're going to go for the swing. They stop the case going down, but Ant's able to find a kill, and Zorn gets taken down. A very good and a very regimented execute there for the Stars.
Fantastic from the Goats, really, to be honest. I mean, there's not really much else to say. They did their jobs perfectly well. Got the entry onto Shaq. That's your East player dead. They took top control really easily, very uncontested. Yeah, a rogue team kill came in. Happens, I guess. We've seen so many of them in well so far, somehow. But it just happens. It's one of those things you deal with, and they did. They dealt with it. Didn't let them stop them. Took the vert, got the kills off the vert, almost got the plant. Actually, no Zorn denying that. But
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many
really
bombs
matter.
as they can.
If you're the Dragons now, you have to look at this. You cannot, like I said, it is an equal map, right? It's an equal map. Yeah, you can work with a 2-4 split getting into attack. It's 4. Let's not act like it hasn't. But at the same time, you want to stop this bleeding now. You know, you have that fantastic second round where you completely shut them out, and yet you're not able to do anything else. So their sides are building up entries in both of them. That's got to be a little bit alarm bells ringing. The thumbs on now. Got to be rallying the troops here, saying to the boys, let's just lock in now, get these final 2 rounds, and then we go into this completely happily okay.
Yeah. That's the big test for Zorn. Can they keep the momentum going? Because the momentum is something that the Goats are going to be driving with. They're going to be riding with it. They're going to be doing their very best to really just keep going with everything they can. They don't want to give anything up. They don't want to lose. They want to see ourselves on Clubhouse. They are going to be doing everything within their power. Can the Sea Dragons match that? Can they counter it, or are they just going to let the Goats trample all over them? Well, there's only one way to really find out, and that's just by watching. Now, with that top floor, the Dragons are going to be defending it up above. They have a very nice Lucy set up towards that CCTV door. Very similar to what I said they did with the Jumot mine with the window. It's that information. As soon as that gets triggered, they know that somebody can swing and take a gunfight. Rest there. Spot a bit of utility. Will realize exactly what this plan is and say, no, we're just going to rotate around. We're going to look towards an East Archive take. And the first thing they're going to need to worry about is Billy Ray on this balcony. Here's the audio of the pings. Oh, the double repel? We'll just get them away. Means that they're not going to give anything away. They're not going to lose that player. But they still need to be aware of that east side staircase. things getting put in place. This execute will have to be fast from the Ghosts. It will have to be hard because the FBA Dragons, surely they've cottoned on by this point. Billy Ray definitely knows they're going to go for the shot. Will find Kaiser. We'll just back things up. They've got that opening pick. They don't need to get aggressive, but just Zorn wants it. Go for the kill towards the east side. An air jab will follow on balcony. The scans come out. And now the attackers will be looking to at least capitalize upon some of this. The flashbang just misses. The Nomad pushes in. Doesn't get taken down, but Billy Ray has the refrag, has the backup. And now a minute 20 left on the clock. Rest will look for the refrag. Has the case. Can't commit to that fight. And with such low HP, it's uncertain whether they can really go for that plan anyway. They might have to just back this up. They have Ant down below hunting for Vex, but with Rest taken down, that's a detriment rather than a help, because Siegeology's all by themselves. They have an LMG, they can make it work, but on the AC window, the Sea Dragons aren't going to push them unless they know they could take that gunfight. You see the shots are ringing out now. Ant has to make something happen. They're going to have 40 seconds to push themselves up those east stairs and get the case and get the plant down in a 2v5. I just don't see it happening, Ryan.
I don't see it happening either, unless the Dragons let themselves go, but never mind. Rex. Probably a nice shot on Siegeology. Zorn will finish it off. That's a flawless round for the Dragons. Again, that top floor site has no fortress. They can't capture it now, so we go into the last round of defense. They need to turn that top floor performance into one of these sites. You're best going to do it on Bathroom Tellers here. So I think they need to bunker. They need to bunker down the site, bunker down that top floor. A lot more difficult without that castle. Going to be very difficult to hold onto this without that castle, but they need to do it. They cannot afford to give away these early picks like we saw, on those two bottom floor rounds.
It's all about getting that vertical balance, I think, for this, because we saw the first time when we were on Bathroom, they had a little bit too much, and the goats were able to just walk in. When we went on to the vent sides, there was not enough. And so the goats were able to take quick control of that fit and really dominate using it. So finding that balance is that sweet spot. They need to have a play towards workshop side just to stop a push. Preferably one that isn't going to get taken down pretty quickly, especially if there's a fast attack. Maybe one towards that fella side of east at least that can drop down. But then they need to have a couple of players roaming. The Solace a very good operator for this. They can catch that information, catch that utility. And if someone's being droned out, they can also give that a quick call. The Thorn's good as well, because this is just going to slow down these attackers. Siegeology isn't going to feel as confident with those Thorn gadgets anymore, because they can't just swing around the corners. They can't just walk into sight. They know they're going to trigger something, and if they're triggering those Thorn gadgets, they know that they're burst line taking a gunfight off the back of it as well. Same theory with the Legion in the fact that it slows things down, it gives away that very audible cue, and also does that instant damage to the attacking side if they're able to survive it. Round will start. Focus over towards that custom side, making sure they don't lose anyone very quickly, trying to catch up some of the defending roamers, but there's no one there to find just yet. Looks like the Flores might be doing a little bit of work here just to clear things out and just get that cover so they don't get swung out from metal.
We'll be joining in here. They need a lot more info if they want to do anything, at this point. No, there's two in workshop. There's Flores just going to play a barb and a thorn gadget at the same time. Possibly be able to take down a shield if Dragons let it slip through. Probably won't. But again, you have to look. They have the info on the guy in customs, but again, for the jokes, they have already pushed up all this way. They've taken all this control on the bottom floor, and I think they've made it clear they don't care about this fair, as they did with their last attack round, which they won here. They do not care. They're looking for similar, if not exactly the same play to get this double entry downstairs, but I just don't think they're going to be as fortunate in finding it. It's going to be harder to take, especially with all these, the smoke canisters, the thorns, that's going to be very, very difficult for them to find, but now they have the vert above workshop.
Yeah, they can start to apply that pressure, possibly, but the buddies up towards Archive and Office are going to make that a lot more difficult. The DMRs no less as well. You have Rex playing on that triple wall, but you also have Shaq at 90. Very little drop off on that, so they can try to use it at the range, but there's very little damage to start with. Whereas, just like you say, they're going to look for that push, but Rex on the east stairs will be able to find a kill onto Yogi. Can still have that line of sight down below to stop that push that we saw from Siegeology before. This is a good position. This is the key position. If Tubb's alive, the round is alive for the Dragons. They can run with it. The flashbang will go through. It won't find its mark, but with Shaq nearby, do they know about the Solace? Do they know about this player holding his position with a utility dump onto Rex? It might not. But Billy Ray's going to get taken down below. Looks like a bit of it will be the undoing for them, or at least the footholds. Rex looks at that gunfight. The Ram staring for it. They don't know this Shaq's there. Able to find Kaiser. Not able to find the Ram as well. But the drop comes through. Siegology pushes in. Takes down Just Sword. 20 seconds ticking down on the clock. That square player will find the down. And now Rest and Ant have to make this work. Rex will make sure Ant's not able to do that in favor of just like last time. And now Rest with time ticking down will be taken down. Vex and Rex, the dream team, will bring that round back in favor of the defense, evening things up for that 3-3 scoreline, like you said they needed at the halfway mark.
Crucial. Absolutely crucial for the Tide of the Dragons as they go into their attack now. And I think for the Goats, you know, again, you got that 3-3. Both sides should be feeling pretty alright about the scoreline. Not about how the rounds went. I think there's a lot of grievances, I think, on both sides with, you know, how the rounds went, what actually happened. But again, at this point, you go into a new half, you just have to say to yourself, especially if you're IGL, saying to your team, it doesn't matter anymore. New half, focus on the attack. What are we going to do? What are we going to ban? Speaking of, Dragons. The Azami here first. Goats ban the Ace. A little bit of a weird ban for Border with the Ace. He's not exactly the most meta, you know, pick on this map. I don't think it's a lot in Hard Breach. Maybe the Archives Wolf, I can think. But either way, doesn't matter. Dragons not going to be able to use the Thermite. That's also banned. I think Goats making it very clear exactly they do not want these walls open. I would have banned Nirvana personally. A lot more long range Hard Breach, but either way, doesn't matter. They've picked the bans, and for the side of the Dragons, that is the Warden gone. That's a statement, and I think that statement has been made pretty clear. Blitz and Ying coming out for the Dragons in their first operator lineup on this attack.
Attackers need to locate
If those aren't statement picks, especially along with Aurora, what else is?
We saw it on Nighthaven in the second round. We're going to see it now on the first round of Sea Dragon's attack. They're going to isolate. It screams out Archives to myself because they're going to get in, they're going to use the Blitz, they're going to use the Incandelas, they're going to take that space, and then the Raura's going to clear it off. They have the Habanas, so they can go to that Archive wall. They can get that line of sight, like you say. Habana's a very situational hard breacher. They can get those long lines of sight that they can play off, and in doing so, they can provide a much needed cutoff for an Archives execute. They might not take the whole of Archives, but they might not need to. Because if they can get successfully utility dump in the right places at the right time and get the right picks, especially looking at Zorn and Shaq with that, that could be the round shut down so quickly. Starting things off though, on the flip side, Goats, they have the Mirror, they have the Fenrir, they have the Valkyrie. These are operators that get the information and slow things down, especially with that tub as well. Let's just see if they're going to have any benefit out of it. The run clear will start. Just a bit of standard droning over towards that jail side, making sure they don't get run out of while they're on the rappel, making sure that Goats aren't able to find a sneaky pick or two. And now they'll start drawing their attention upstairs. Rex aggressive, able to find Rest, will take that player off the board. And that's the Scorpion as well. That's the Ella that's meant to be playing that box that position. They're meant to be the thorn in the side, and that's just not going to happen. Blitz will jump through, will find that mirror window, calls it out, and just says, well, let's just go to the other side. Well, it's another mirror window. Well, what are we going to do? We're going to ying it out. The C4 goes out. Fuck with that, Mirror's in a horrible spot. Geology has to back up, but it's going to be Ant with the C4, finding Zorn. That player down below. Vex just not there quick enough to stop that kill going out. Another Candela will follow, and aware that there's going to be somebody trying to hunt them out at this point. With that demo scan coming out, the position's given away, the soft breach is there. Gonna look for the kill, backs off into Workshop, tries to get a bit of hard utility between them. Looking for the kill, the damage does land, the information's there, there's no bullets in the gun, and Ant gets taken down. And we're halfway left, a 4 versus 3 in favor of the attackers. Billy Ray's able to add 2, that takes East as well. That's the big cut position, they can hold, they can let off his side. And now suddenly that 90, those mirror windows have just become useless for the attackers. But for the defenders, sorry, Rex with a shot onto Kaiser. Looked like Billy Ray got it, but it was just 2 people holding the same angle. The coordination's there, they know the tub will slow them down, but Rex with a pistol finds Geology. And a dominant attacking round to start things off for the Dragons.
it's Rex has been absolutely on fire this map. I think he's up to what, 12-3? I think it is now. He is absolutely just slaughtering the goats out here. There's not much else to say, really. I mean, he had a little bit of a quiet labs. Wasn't really the most prominent player, especially with Vex coming huge in the last round. But this map, he's absolutely been the Dragon's saving grace. It pulled him out of a lot of bad situations when really the Dragons shouldn't really had a look in there. But speaking of all that attack, it was a very, very well played early round. Lost the blitz to the C4 from below. Again, just happens. They couldn't really predict that as well. But even though they lost the blitz, they still just didn't matter. Billy Ray with a big double kill onto around East. Absolutely just decimated any chance Goats had of reclaiming that round.
You've got to look at the payoff there. Yes, the blitz died quite quickly to the C4, but they forced Geology out. That 90 position never got retook. It meant that then, as soon as Billy Ray took that control of East Stairs, those windows were just useless. There was nothing on site. There was nothing for the defenders to play with when they got back to that site. That was it. They're going to try the same thing again, the Goats here. I feel like this can work because they had the right idea. It was just the Dragons were very aggressive, very controlled, very dominant in their attack. We're seeing a very different lineup now, a very different attacking lineup. This screams out Archive side to me, and when you hear that Monty walking over there, I'm sure the Goats will agree, especially with that Glaz. Glaz's job here, they get the smoke down, they let the Monty plant in that smoke if they're possible, and then they cover the swing. Monty also has those smokes in pockets. There's 6 smokes on the attacking side, so they can just commit this utility. If anyone pushes out from the east, that's also Rex's job to deal with, but I backed them to take it. The C4 goes out, doesn't find the mark with a player in Archive. They might be able to stop it, they can't. Go down, the damage does follow onto Vex, but it isn't enough to kill just yet. And with the player still in Archive, Rex's one job is just to hold that case. Zorn will give the call, they will tell them that they're there. Now the attackers just play it safe. Another Candela will follow. Shaq with a shotgun finds rest. Gets taken down, and Ant will be able to finish it off, but the case is still there. The Monty is going to block that long arm. They know that person's playing there. They come off the plank as they're forced off it. And Ant is able to find Rex. The class is taken down. Oh no, the frags are following. It's just Sword and Ray. In the post plant, but with 3 kills, 4 kills. Billy Ray going on that AC position will close it up. Gets the Jackal, gets the Fenrir, gets Jaeger, sorry. It gets another round for the Dragons. They've just taken 2 rounds and they've snatched them away from the Goats.
They almost lost that. Dragons almost lost that. Shaq dies to the Jaeger who sat in the corner on Archives. No Vents player. That defuse can come in. There's no possible way anybody from the Dragons could have swung off of the Monty, because obviously they're all holding the Monty. So that reposition from Billy Ray came in at such a critical time. 1 second, 2 seconds later, possibly a round loss for the Dragons after such a good start. After getting that plant down, that Thatcher pick to counter the C4 was absolutely genius. Billy Ray just having an absolutely huge round there, and really all credit goes to him.
I think Dragons have just kind of taken this map. I feel like they've made such a statement, like you say, going onto their attacking side, that the Goats are kind of at a loss to bring it back. They're on the defense. This is a map that you really expect to be able to really step up on. But if you're trying to think from a mental point of view, you're the IGL on Goats. You're saying, right, that's one side. We played it twice. We lost it twice. We're going down below. We're trying something different. We have the rounds to work with to go down below. We're going to take advantage of it. If we win this one, just take it 1 round at a time. Because right now, that's all you need. You get this round, okay, you go down to Vents. You get another round, okay, you try out top floor again. But if that doesn't work, then you could go back to this site. If they can win the bathroom, they still have a very strong chance in it, but that means it is a must-win now for themselves. The SEA Dragons, though, they're not bringing the same exact lineup. They've got a Rooney, they've got a Yinger, they've got a Bravas. That's a lot of utility that's going to be stolen by the Brava. And if they decide they really want to go through this window, the Dragons will be going through the window.
Have to drone first, and that's exactly what they are doing. They know they can't just straight rush it in, because then that's how you lose the entry pick. So I think Vex, he's seen it's got a lot of util. They're holding it quite heavily. That that armory not going to really come into play, really. So I think now it's all about Billy Ray and these Bravo drones. How much util can he take down? Obviously, we saw him hack the Captain Trap. One of them already gone down, though. So he's on to the last one. He has to take these Malusis now, as it looks like it's going to be more of a vertical push. Not vertical, horizontal push, sorry.
We talk about this so much. I'm honestly surprised I don't make that mistake more often as well. Going through now, finding themselves over towards this server side. They are going to be pushing forward. The Monty feeling the pressure of the Thorn and the Malusi delays. And now, yes, Rest is still playing this 1-7, but they know that they can win these gunfights. But the Monty being on the side is going to make it difficult to get one down, but don't find the confirmed kill. And we'll be able to find Rest as Zorn goes down as well. And with Billy Ray taken down now, this is a 3 versus 3 situation. If they can't get that res up, there's that in that workshop side, they should be able to. And Rex is going to be able to find that and player. Now over towards the square side, they can watch the cutoff. But Yogi's going for the flank here. There's no nomads, there's no flank cameras watching it. The shots come out, they do the damage. They're able to find Vex, and they're just going to back off into vents. They know they're passive, they know they're going to die. But look at that HP, Iron. They know that whatever they do means Siegeologies has one more chance at winning that round. The SEA Dragons, they don't want to push that. They don't have the case in pockets. They're just going to have to look at going to sub. Now Siegeology takes a bit of damage. Finds Rex, though. That's the important bit. They find that pick. They're able to find Shaq as well. Billy Ray will find Yogi. But now in a 1 versus 1, Siegeology with the Aruni DMR is able to just pick apart the attack.
Not quite Vex-esque, but still very good from Siegeology. I mean, he had to hit 3 bullets there on each of them, and he would have gotten those kills, but he played it very well. Even when it went down to a 1v1, still knew exactly what to do, still knew he had the health advantage, didn't really have to worry at all, really. And I think from the Dragons, again, very good getting in, but they didn't really do anything else. They took that workshop control and just sat there. They didn't push, they didn't do anything. I think the initiative from Yogi to go on that flank, very, very well done. Probably should have gotten more, to be honest. Probably should have taken down more of his initial spray. But either way, he got his one, backed off, wasted time, and put 2 different points of pressure on for the Dragons. That allowed Siegeology, who was over in Passport, to rotate over, get into that bathroom position safely, and was able to make the play. To win the round for the Goats, and to make it 5-4.
It's a dead cat theory that we saw from Yogi. You walk in, everyone's having a conversation. You walk in, you put a dead cat on the table, everyone stops talking, everyone just focuses on that. That's exactly what Yogi did. Like you say, Siegeology gets back to site, finds that position, and finds that round. The Goats will bring us back to a 1-point game at the moment, but they're going to be heading back to that top floor. They're not going to try that vent workshop side, which means for me, I'm a little bit concerned here. SCA Dragons, they've shown that they could do 2 different attacks. They could do the typical attack over CC, over towards that east, and then just walk towards that side. They've also shown they can do the archive side as well. They know they're not getting away with that archive side. Look at that Ying Bang. That's very targeted towards the Dragons of, no, we don't want you doing this anymore.
Attackers are moving to defuse a bomb.
I believe Dragons will have something else in plan. I think they might be going more towards the CC side from the operators they bought. But take a look at what Billy Ray's bringing back. And it's something that's been targeted banned a few times, but now can't be.
Bring back the Blackbeard. We saw Dragons, they like to use these shields. Little bit like shocked there was no shield ban from the Goats. I understand the Ying very heavily, especially if they are going to try this archives back up again. However, I think the shield ban is also just going to work out, very perfectly for the Dragons. They don't have to worry about it now. They can go into these final 3 rounds and play as many as they want and do what they want. And speaking of the shield, Billy Ray finds Yogi. 3 and 9 from him. Had a good round last round. Not doing much this round though, as he's the first picked off, and that is a fantastic entry 40 seconds into the round for the Dragons.
Yeah, one badly needed. The castle's taken away, and that UMP, it isn't the best gun in the game, but it is a gun that can really hit when you need it to. Billy Ray, the frag grenade, not really getting that castle barricade there, a nice bit of util waste the Goats can't complain about, but they can't really rely upon. The rappel over towards the square side, just to look at doing that cutoff, make sure that Blackbeard doesn't get swung. And they spot that player below, they spot the feet, the damage comes out, brilliant. Kaiser gets taken down. Because why would Kaiser be looking there? Why would they expect the player to be on rappel there? That means that free kill comes out for the attackers, and his rest gets taken down as well. Now we're seeing this best of 3 possibly being pushed to a series point. Siegeology and yet again backing it together. Siegeology once again will find a player, but now they need to find 4 more. They have the smoke as well. The shotgun SMG has the combination and 2 canisters, but there's not a lot of time that they can use those smoke canisters for compared to the time left in the round. Office will get opened up. The attack defenders will be knowing where these pushes are coming from. They have time to adjust, time to try and reposition if they really think that they can. Apply that pressure. Tries to apply that pressure towards Fountain. Stop, and he rotates over. Siegeology will fall now, and with the smoke, with the SMG-11 and the shotgun, we'll have to make this work. 40 seconds ticking down. Rotate to CC, but realize the plant is going down. They need to be in a position to stop this, but they're not going to be able to do that. That player over towards Office is going to stop them, and Vex is able to find that round and push us to a series point for SEA Dragons to move through to the grand final, potentially, of the Season 10.
It's crunch time for GOATs. It really is crunch time for GOATs. They were in this exact position on Labs, 6-4 down. They weren't able to convert the next round, and they ended up losing. You're on your map pick now. You should know what to do here. What have you got up your sleeve? You can't go back to top. It's not working for you. Dragons just have your number when you go top floor. So what do you do now? The one site you've won is locked. You can't go back to Bathroom Tellers. So what's the next best option? Apparently residing. They may have one more thing, one more desperation play to try on this top floor to see what they can do.
No.
And I just think it's just not gonna work. 3 times they've gone now.
I'm very much a believer in the fact of, right, you try it one time, it doesn't work, you try it again, sure. If you're confident that you can win it, you try it again. If it doesn't work that second time, you just don't go back there unless you can avoid it. Get a couple of round wins under your belt. Not go down below, win 1 round, and then go straight back up. The shift just isn't there for it. I don't think GOATs need... I don't think this is what GOATs need. I think they need to go back down below. They played it well. They positioned themselves well and played it for each other very well in Bathroom. Try Ventellers. You still have that. You still have that top floor to work with until the last minute or so. Just make it work. We are seeing the castle being brought out, but again on the attacking side, look at these DMRs. You've got the Glaz, you've got the Cali, you've got the Blackbeard as well. Can get those castles off the board, but the Cali will fall. Really will take a lot of damage as well. Be picked off by Ant. The GOATs have come out swinging into this round of 5 versus 3 in the first 30 seconds, and suddenly it feels like they've got a little more pep in their step.
There's the adaptation. It may not be because of the site, but it's exactly what the GOATs needed to do. They needed to change up, and that very early, very in-your-face aggression that the Dragons kind of pioneered during this game is now coming back to bite them. GOATs know how to use it, and they are using it well here. So for the Dragons, you're now 3 down. You've lost your Buck, you've lost your Amru, you've lost your Cali. You've got the Glaz and the Blackbeard to try and do something. Are they going to be able to find one? Yes, they are. That is Kaiser gone down. 2 versus 4 now, and that's... Hello? Yogi? He's prone in front of you. Yogi, he's prone. What is going on? What witnessing? That's Siegeology now taking some damage. Still managed to get the kill. What is that from Billy Ray? We're now 1 versus 4 after a very confusing sequence. Zorn, very low on HP, will manage to finish off Siegeology, finish what Billy Ray should have also finished there. But in a very low HP against 3 full HP players, 3 smokes on board. Goo Mine's out from Ant. This is just very unwinnable for Zorn. And I think as the OGL, he knows he's just got to use this minute 20 to talk over what went wrong, how do we combat it.
Expect those peaks, expect those early gunfights. That's what GOATs are going to be doing moving forward. It's worked that round, it's going to work in the next one. That's their mindset there. Just adjust that, bring that into your playstyle. Just so, like you say, he's gonna have his teammates just talk about what happened, how do they fix it. He's just gonna try and make the most of this round, but his team are really gonna be the ones that are gonna make it, that see the benefit out of this. Yogi will close that up. That round is done. The BP camera giving that information just for that wallbang to follow. That was the GOATs that we need to see. They came out of the GOAT gate swinging. 2 players picked off immediately. The Buck follows shortly after, and and then when we get to the CCTV push, like you say, I don't think the SEA Dragons, they were still kind of reeling a little bit from how that round went. They might not have noticed that play. They had a good double peek to get a one pick in the answer, but they weren't just able to keep that going. So that is the GOATs bringing us one round away from overtime. So this next round, the all-important round, decides whether we go again or whether we find ourselves cleaning up the remainders of the GOATs. The site, it can't be that top four again. It's going to be Bathroom Tellers, and this is the one that the GOATs won. So this is, again, the must-win round. Like we say, to keep them in overtime, to keep them in it for Clubhouse, they need to win this. They've done it before, but they lost a lot of players early on. That's the one thing I want to bring out. The SEA Dragons caught quite a few players quite quickly on this site. It was down to the GOATs having a couple of hero plays, a couple of highly coordinated moments between Yogi and Geology that brought that round back for them. Can they do it again?
10 seconds to go.
Honestly, if they're going to do it again, they can't rely on a hero 3k to close it out. They need players like Yogi and especially Rest, who has gone so quiet on this map. On maps, he was very active, very getting in it, getting a lot of kills. But now he's 1-9. He's not had much, if any, impact at all, aside from his utility. He needs to step up in this ranks department. And for the Dragons, I think you just need to reattempt what you did. But without the Monty, I think they're going to have to switch it up, though. I don't think they can reattempt what they did. So, honestly, it's going to all depend on these gunfights. Now, I don't think the util for GOATs is very, very heavy in bunkering. They're really playing trap heavy. I think these drones from the Dragons are going to be very, very important. They need to know exactly what they're up against to watch these doors and windows. Well, the frost match for the camp contracts, but it doesn't matter. And who has been absolutely on fire, second only to Geology, had 3 smoke canisters gone. That's your plant denial. No C4s, 4 bulletproofs actually for the GOATs. Completely skipped over that fact. I mean, that's a lot of intel in itself, but either way, no C4s, no impacts, no nothing, aside from guns, for this plant denial, and that's also the vet. Ooh, down to the Dragons. So if you're the GOATs now, you're on a 5v4, you've lost the vet, you're not going to be able to play the site properly, what do you do?
They need to think about retake, and they need to think about strapping players out. They head towards that passport side, but Vex is going to catch them quickly. Geology will find Billy Ray and even things out. That's good. That's what we need. But the vert's already being done. Halfway through the round, Shaq will find Geology. The Aruni gets taken down. The DMR is removed. The vert, the hatches, it's all opening things up now. So Sea Dragons, they know they need to be aware of these flanks. Spotting that Aruni gate just open up. They're going to lose a player. This Rex fights Rest. A 2 versus 4. They have the workshop control. They can stop a flank going down, especially with the information. But Young Yogi's going to have to take this fight very quickly. They're not going to pop those Habana gates. As Kaiser's able to find Rex. Not popping that gates means that they have that element of surprise. Not anymore though. The Deimos gives the info. Zone will be taken down. The nade will follow. But Shaq's able to find Kaiser. It's all down to Yogi. The scan is there. The 2v1. The time ticking down. And now they know that player in metal going over towards that custom side. There we go. Then we'll say the word. The plank can start to possibly look at going down. Another scan can follow quite soon. But Shaq's going to get taken down. The plank is going to go through. Vex is just going to stick it. They realize they have to. With 20 seconds left, they need to flip that around. Need to flip the script and become the defender. And the info, they know they're in the workshop because those goo mines are coming out. Vex can play the long angle. The scan follows. And now they just need to wait. Confirm kill will come through. But now the position's given for both players. They both know exactly where they are. Could even be played as well by the Deimos if they so desire. Pushing towards that site, going for that rotate, looks for the kill. The damage does go out, but doesn't find a single marker. And that 1 versus 1 time ticks down. The scan finally gives away that position. Young Yogi might start to look for that plan, but it has to push for the kill. They have to make it happen. Vex goes to the drop. They just have to force them off it. They're going to go for the get it! Take it down, and SEA Dragons will go to the grand finals.
Well, no 3 maps. No 3 maps. A very entertaining 2 maps here in this semi-final. GG's to both teams. And if we're looking at it, I think that was probably one of the best semi-finals I've ever seen in the entirety of Rainbow Six Siege in WoW.
Yeah, I have to agree. That was really well played. I mean, both teams really stepped it up, but SEA Dragons, I feel like they just kept in that driver's seat. The Goats, they were playing catch up quite a bit. They were saying, right, okay, we need to bring it back, we need to bring it back, and that was the consistent thing across both maps, I think, was trying to keep that mentality of we need to bring it back. They weren't able to just get out ahead and just keep that course, whereas the SEA Dragons, they just kept driving. I feel like the fact that they had about 1 million different ways that they wanted to approach that top floor really was the nail in the coffin. So then when the Goats are focusing on that bathroom, that's their be-all end-all. The Dragons just had to change up one thing, and then that's how they were able to win it out. Very close, very well played from the defenders to get it that close. It felt like it was gone a lot earlier. But they are going to get knocked out of this playoffs. They aren't going to be finding themselves in that grand final. The SEA Dragons will be moving forward to face whoever wins the other game between the Pit Ponies and Tribal Esports. YN, that is 2 maps that felt like it easily could have been 3.
Absolutely easily. We said it on Labs, and I think it's the exact same in Border. Missed opportunities when it just came down to it. To be honest, it was just absolutely nothing that could be done in terms of, it's just one of those things. It's that 20% of times where it's just random. A C4 from below, a rogue one tap, downing someone instead of killing. These tiny little things that I think went in the way of the Dragons. And I think for the Goats, you have to kind of look at it as, it's just one of those days. Not a lot went right for you, and when it did go right, I think the Dragons still had their number. So going into this final now for the Dragons, I think they really need to just hone in. They're facing either a team they've already beat in Tribal, they beat them 7-1, or they're facing the reigning champions who have looked absolutely unstoppable and unkillable for the entirety of their time during, so who knows what the Dragons are going to prep or how they're going to prep, but when they get there and when they make that match next week, they need to figure out what they're going to do to prevent such randomness from playing into their round wins.
Yeah, very, very exciting, especially when we think, like you say, about that possible matchup we'll be finding next week. But that is going to be it from ourselves today. We're not going to see any more games at the moment because it's best of 3. We'll only do one of them. YN, thank you for joining me this evening, Nanos, and I want to say, Skipfist as well, thank you for making the game look as beautiful as it does on the screen behind the scenes. Thank you for both teams playing so well, giving us a really nice game to watch, and thank you for watching. Good night.